The Spotlight, shining a light on podcasts and videos that have caught our attention.
Hi and welcome to The Spotlight. My name is Jen Spiker and today I'm highlighting part of a conversation with a special guest on Vision's national breakfast show, Rise and Shine. Recently, Phil took the morning off to celebrate her daughter's birthday. Rather than spending the morning on his own, DJ invited one of Australia's most beloved artists, Dami Im, to be his guest co-host. And she said yes. Dami has recently become an ambassador for Destiny Rescue. Listen for more details about that ministry and insight into Dami's side hustle as an author.
The Spotlight with Jen Spiker.
Being a Christian artist in a secular industry, that wasn't something that you sort of set out to, that wasn't like a big goal for you back in the day. Because I know you were releasing your own independent music before you won all the stuff, before you got signed.
That's right.
What was the goal back then when you were releasing your independent music and no one knew who you were?
Yeah, so when I first recorded my own stuff, that was just out of uni. I recorded it at uni when I was studying jazz vocals, and I wrote. They were all Christian songs in Korean and English. It was very obscure because it's Christian and it's kind of half Korean, half English. Like, who listens to that? But I just at the time I just made music, wrote songs that I wanted to sing, and everything just happened to be Christian. I wasn't trying to be like, this needs to be like preachy, and I just was.
You were singing what's in your heart.
Yeah, and it all had something to do with God. That's just how it was. Yeah. But so from that, I got opportunities at churches to do things, performances, and go to camps and perform, and, in Korea and some in Australia. And while I was, singing at churches, I always felt this feeling like I need to go outside the church. Like that's what I'm called to do. I thought, isn't that the point of the gospel,
Yes.
to let people that haven't heard it hear it.
Yes.
And I just felt a bit funny, talking about Jesus to people who already know everything. Not everything, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And
let me introduce you to a person you've already met before. It's Jesus.
It's literally preaching to the choir. And so that's why I was looking for opportunities to go outside, and X Factor came up, and that's how it happened.
The rest is history.
Yeah.
History there. So it was something. I remember the first release that you did. I think was it called Dream? The original one. I think it's going for thousands of dollars on the eBay these days. Oh, I don't know. I don't even know.
$20.
Yeah, I don't even know where you can find it these days. But so part of your calling, if to use a big highfalutin word there, part of your calling that you felt that God had laid on your heart was to get your music, to get your talent, to let your light shine out into the world, so people could know there's something different going on.
Yeah, and it wasn't easy. It's still not easy. I'm always praying and trying to figure out what that actually means, because the world is changing. It's not like I thought. So growing up in the church, I thought, you just become famous and then you say God, in an interview, and you've done your job, right?
Yes.
But that's not really how it works. And nowadays, even more so, people will just hate you, and it'll just divide people for the Christians and the non-Christians. It's
a minefield out there.
Yeah, but one of the things that I found easy to do as a ministry with the platform that's why I worked with Compassion and Destiny Rescue. That was a no-brainer. That's good work, and it's furthering the kingdom of God and calling of Jesus. But apart from that, it comes down to just normal everyday people, what they have to do in their workplaces, it's building relationships and being a good person, and, having, just that connection with Jesus so that people can see the difference. Yeah. And it's not this big moment in the spotlight where you go, Jesus, and everyone's like, oh my gosh, yes, I must believe. But it's every single day when you're working with people, you're recording, when you're, having meetings. Like, you just have to be with Jesus.
Yeah, you've reminded me of something that a dear friend said to me who was in a secular band, the same sort of thing. And he said, look, there's so much pressure sometimes as a Christian artist in a secular band to be, this preacher, to be this thing. And he goes, I was never called to be a preacher. I was called to be a good musician in what I'm doing here. And he said, where the ministry is, the ministry often happens behind the scenes, not while I'm on stage doing this secular music. The ministry happens while I'm talking to my bandmates, when they're going through their issues, when I'm talking to my producer, when I'm talking to the guy who's setting up the speakers. God provides me with all these opportunities to tell people about my faith, but while I'm playing instruments on stage, that's usually not one of those places.
Yeah.
And that really changed my perspective of what God calls some people to do, because, sometimes, I know many people who are, I'm blessed to be working in a place where you do speak about Jesus for your living, but a lot of people, whether it's my brother who's a plasterer, my relatives who are builders, people who are working in a shop, people who are serving people, sometimes it's not their place to be able to go, hey, let me tell you about Jesus.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's their place to do what they've been called to do, what they've been gifted to do, as best as they can.
Yeah.
And then when the opportunity arises, they can give glory back to God.
Exactly. Yeah. And like I know a friend who's a doctor, a GP, and you think, oh, he's Christian, so he can like make a difference. But then it's like, no, his first calling is to be a good doctor, right? And not just be that, annoying. Like, people don't come to, that's what he said. People don't come to me to, because I'm Christian. They come to me because they want to get good advice, expert advice on their health. And that comes first. But then you always have to, as a Christian, have to think about ways to minister that, that's on top of that main job that you've got. You can't compromise the level of skill though, but by doing that, like if I play bad music and then talk about Jesus, like it's just not gonna work.
Amen. I hear that. Dami Im is in the studio. We love being with Dami. Dami, doing a great job there as a co-host, basically doing a breakfast show takeover here across the nation. Now, something that people might not know, that not only are you accomplished, singer, songwriter, you amazing on the keys, you've done all this amazing modelling for fashion as well. You've become a fashionista, but you're also an author. And you've written, not many people can say this, you've written 2 books in 2 different languages.
Yes.
So a couple of years ago, you released the book, was it Dreamer? That was, here in Australia, obviously written in English.
Yes.
Now, the book Dreamer, is that a little bit of an autobiography? How would you describe that one?
Yeah, it's a memoir.
Okay.
So it basically goes from where I came from, Korea, my childhood, and then coming to Australia as an immigrant, what that was like, and then, of course, winning X Factor, and then the struggles in the industry in the last 10 years, basically.
I mean, what you wrote about, being signed to one of the big labels. One of the biggest.
You do have such a good memory. I'm so impressed.
Well, I'm not a big fan of big labels, especially the big label that you were signed with. There's been artists after artists over the years, some of them very famous, who've come out and said some, pretty earth-shattering news. And I love your bravery that in that book you spoke up and said, listen, I've had a really bad experience here as well, with a major label. And that's led you now to be signed to ABC Records, which is a lot more freeing, and you can do, some of the stuff that you've been wanting to do. But the other book that you've written, I thought it was just a straight translation of the book into Korean, but no.
No.
You rewrote it.
Yeah, I rewrote it. So at the start, we were going to, my publisher in Korea wanted me to translate it.
Yes.
And so I started doing it. And I was like, I'm basically rewriting this. I might as well actually rewrite it and tailor it to the Korean audience.
Fantastic. And that's just come out this year in Korea.
Yeah, it literally came out, I think, in March when I was over there this year. So I ended up doing some promo, book signings. And it was really interesting.
Phenomenal. And that book is called Hero.
Yes.
You can get it over here for anybody who reads Korean?
I think you can only get it from the Korean website.
Okay.
But they're trying to get it over here. It's very hard to get.
Okay. Stick to Dreamers. Stick to the other book that's in English. That's easy to do. You're with DJ and Dami. I like the sound of that. Dami and DJ here for your breakfast. I know you've always dreamed to be a breakfast show host here. First question that you had when you popped in is, what time do you get up in the morning?
Yeah, this is very. I thought we were starting when I got here, and then you were already going. I'm like, whoa.
For musicians, this time of day doesn't exist. I mean, musicians live in the night, overnight.
Yeah.
They don't live in the morning. So thank you so much for being part of it.
That's okay. I've got a baby. So
yes.
Also, I've got a double life.
You've got a family as well. Do you feel now that you're a mum, and I love the fact that you've been so honest about your career and, you know, in motherhood. You've said in the past, you know, motherhood wasn't like, you know, a massive thing for you. Like you weren't this maternal person being real clucky around babies. And then you get married, you have this baby and you're like, okay, it's not so bad. All right, I'm here with you've got
Yeah.
But did that kick in, you know, like Destiny Rescue? I mean, you've always been working with kids and stuff with compassion, but now going out with Destiny Rescue and trying to save these kids out of one of the worst nightmares we can think of is having a child of your own. Does that make it even more, you know, more passionate?
Absolutely. Yeah. It feels now even more visceral, you know, when I think about kids not being treated like how they should be treated. It, like, you know, before it would be like, oh, that's terrible. But now I'm like, I feel it in my guts. Like, it's so bad that it makes me cry. Yeah. And that's why, like, it, you know, I feel more passionate about doing things for Destiny Rescue with them and supporting them because, probably my son really had a big impact on that.
On the Spotlight, we've been listening to a conversation between DJ and Dami Im when Dami was a guest co-host recently on Rise and Shine. There's a daily podcast from Rise and Shine where you can hear all the highlights by tapping podcasts in the Vision app. If you have a favourite podcast or video series that you'd like to hear featured on the Spotlight, click Contact Us at vision.org.au and share the link. My name is Jen Spiker and I look forward to joining you next time on the Spotlight as I share another podcast or video that deserves highlighting.
For more great podcasts and videos like the one featured today, check out vision.org.au or the free Vision app.